just this year, we've grown and foraged over 200 pounds of nutrient-dense food that we've stored to feed us throughout the winter. And in this video, I'm gonna give you the behind-the-scenes tour of everything we have in our 2 fridges, freezers, and pantry. Mother Nature's abundance keeps blowing me away, dude, and I think it's gonna blow you away too. I'm most excited about what's in our pantry, but before we get into that, let's take a look at what's in our 2 fridges. I've got a big gallon jar of chicken of the woods mushroom conserva. This will last in my fridge for months and months on end. I've got another gallon of my favorite mushroom. These are chanterelles, same deal, preserved in water with some acid. Mushroom conserva, one of my favorite ways to preserve fresh mushrooms. These are a couple jars of dryad saddle. These are pickled, like a dill type of vibe. These are from this year, early this spring. We didn't grow these beets, but they're pickled from a local farm. These will be in the fridge, just hanging out. Super delicious, great way to preserve beets. This is a spice bush chung that I made. It's almost gone by now. I used a maple sugar to make it, super delicious. This is in the fridge. In the freezer, we have a gallon of tomato soup made out of tomatoes from our garden. I've got just over a half gallon of wild grape juice. Pretty cool, first time doing this. I have a gallon of ground and frozen maitake mushrooms. A couple jars of potato and ham soup with potatoes from our garden. I've got 3 bags of blanched and frozen stinging nettles. 4 or 5 jars of these carrot top pesto with carrot tops from our garden. Here is a half gallon of chili with grass-fed beef and a handful of tomatoes from our garden. We've got a bag of frozen service berries. I collected a ton this year, probably over 30 pounds. This is a mushroom pate I made this year with cultivated oyster mushrooms. I have well over a gallon of frozen American persimmon pulp. This will be good in all kinds of baked goods. I might even try making a persimmon barbecue sauce with it. A whole bag of frozen tomatoes, all from our garden. I've also got a couple logs of ramp compound butter, just ramp leaves blended up with a good grass-fed butter. And I'm getting a little low on this, but this is a citrus chili crisp that I made with dehydrated citrus peels from another project that I had. This is delicious, dude. I've been putting it on everything. We've also got a lot of the basics in the fridge, like the eggs, cheese, butter, meats, and things like that. But I just wanted to highlight all the wild and homegrown foods. Now that we've worked through the 2 fridges and freezers, let's move along to my favorite and most prized possession, the pantry. This is a fermented garlic honey with garlic that we grew in our garden, dude. This was a dream of mine. I'm obsessed with garlic honey, so it's super cool to make my own with garlic from our garden. Yeah. More garlic from our garden. This is just preserved in a salt brine. These are juniper berries that I harvested when I went out for the Midwest Wild Harvest Festival, dude. What up? I foraged these with Alan Burgo, so super cool memory and delicious flavor. The smallest little bit of ramp salt I have left. I had an entire gallon of this stuff, but hey dude, ramp salt's awesome. I've been using the heck out of it. This is a rosemary salt. Rosemary I bought from a local farm. I think it's a great way to preserve herbs in an herbal salt like this. I hate spending tons of money on out of season fresh herbs. These are some purple runner beans that we grew, what was that, 2 years ago. So I haven't done anything with these yet. I might try and cook them and eat them and see how that goes, but I'm not super sure. Just kind of cool. It's like a maraca, you know what I'm saying? This is wild bergamot. I made a rookie mistake this year and put all the stems, so every time I go to take some out, I have to remove stems, so that kind of sucks, but hey dude, we're learning. This is a really cool fermented allium powder. This has fermented ramp leaves in it and the wild oniony grass that grows out in the yard, dehydrated and powdered. This is a dehydrated apple skin, spice bush, and cinnamon mix that I've been using in lots of baked goods. Super delicious, tons of flavor, really digging the vibes of this. Here's some homegrown and dried oregano. I have like 3 or 4 of these jars, so tons of this. Bunch of dried basil from our garden. Our crop didn't do super great. We lost a bunch of it to powdery mildew, but was still able to save a quart of dried. You know how expensive this is if you're buying it in the store, dude. What up? These are some bronze fennel seeds that I preserved in honey. It's got a super awesome fennel-y flavor. It reminds me of those little Indian sugar-coated fennel seeds at the Indian restaurants. This is a quart of black walnut molasses where I just took fresh black walnuts, cut them in half, covered them in maple sugar, and then let them sit. So this is kind of chilling out and mellowing out. I'm gonna serve that with like a steak course somewhere down the road. This is a 2-year-old fermented ramp bulb, and this is a 1-year-old. So started this 2 years ago, started this last year, and I started a batch this year. This is a hot honey that I made with chili peppers from our garden. So it's got a ton of flavor. It's got a ton of heat, so it's kind of abrasive, but it's really delicious, and you know, put it on anything, dude. Sweet and heat, can't beat it, baby. This is a batch of nocino that I started this year. So I took black walnuts, sassafras roots. What else did I put in there? Spice bush berries. It's probably got like another 5 months to go, so we're in it for the long game. This is sweet bed straw, or the Gallium triflorum. Alan Burgo talks a lot about this. I was super stoked to find it this year. I'm gonna make the wild vanilla extract that he talks about using this. Super excited. This is a jar of dried stinging nettle that'll be great for soup stock. This will be great powdered and used in seasonings and spices. Some dried sage from our garden. Love sage, love, love, love. Super expensive, dried at the grocery store. We grow our own, dude. What up? I've got some sassafras roots. Sassafras I'm super obsessed with. These are awesome. Main ingredient in root beer, super delicious. This right here, dude, is a really special jar. This was my first time ever canning anything. So this is a little strawberry and rhubarb preserve that I sweetened with the wildflower infused honey. The coolest part about it is that you can still taste the wildflowers, dude. Yes! These are some dried mulberries. They're super sweet. Love to powder them, use them in drinks, use them to sweeten things. Another exciting win for me is this jar right here. This is an applesauce that I made from scratch out of feral apples from a tree just down around the corner in my neighborhood. Turns out canning isn't so scary, and you should try it yourself too there, pal. I've got 2 jars of homegrown and dried cayenne chili peppers. There's some jalapenos mixed in here too. I want to use these for a chili crisp this year. I've got a big jar of spice bush berries. Spice bush are super awesome. Dude, I found a spot this year that was so loaded with berries, you wouldn't even believe it. This is a little maitake jerky that I made. It's kind of on the spicy side, kind of a little too crispy for what I wanted, but it's a cool way to preserve maitake mushrooms, and it's not bad, you know, we're learning. This is dry basil from our garden as well, in a bunch of salt. I just need to dry it out, or powder it up so I have a nice blended basil salt. A half gallon of dried morels, dude. This was the first year that I was able to find enough to where I could dry and store some away, so I'll definitely be cooking up some special meals with these during the winter. I'm already counting down the day until morels start popping, dude. What up? We've got chicken of the woods for days, jar after jar after jar of chicken of the woods. It's a super great mushroom to dry. It rehydrates really well. I want to do some wild mushroom dumplings this year with like the pickled dryad saddle, maybe a little chili crisp with chilies from our garden. We'll see, but I've got tons of mushroom. And last but not least, we grew a bunch of corn this year. So I've dried a bunch of it. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it. I think it would be cool to do the nixtamalization process and maybe make some hominy so I could do it in a soup or something. I think it'd be super cool to grow corn, do the nixtamalization, make my own masa, and then make tortillas. So that's something I definitely want to do down the road. Dude, I had no idea how much I picked and preserved this year until I started breaking it all down. This is kind of crazy. Crazy, but freaking dope. So stoked. Imagine how much money I would have spent on all this stuff if I would have bought it at the store. And the best part is that you can't even buy most of this stuff at the store, dude. I super duper appreciate you if you've made it this far, and I hope you'll subscribe to follow along on all these wild food, flavor, cooking explorations. I'm already getting excited for spring foraging and garden season, and I hope this Poppin' Pantry gets you excited to do some foraging and growing yourself. There's a flavorful and abundant world of food out there that's waiting for you to explore. See you next time. Happy cooking.